Hello everyone, welcome back to Litmails. This video is going to be about social political changes during modern European drama. And because there are a lot of things to cover in this particular topic, we have divided this video into two parts. This is the first part. इस part में हम simply discuss करेंगे about the social and political changes that was taking place during this time, during the 20th century Europe. So our timeline is going to be approximate 100 years, which is around the late 1800s to the late 1900s. This is the map of Europe for your reference. प्लीज़ मेक श्योर यू वॉच बोथ द वीडियोज़ बिकॉज अगर आप एक आंसर लिख रहे हैं मॉडर्न यूरोपियन ड्रामा के ऊपर यू सिंपली कैन नॉट गो एंड राइट अबाउट द हिस्टोरिकल इवेंट्स और वट एवर हैपन ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड यू ऑल्सो हैव टू सब्सटेंशिएट इट विद द लिटरेचर दैट came with it. So let's first begin with the meaning of social change and political change. You can also write these things in your answer. It will give you a plus. So whenever we talk about social change, it refers to the shift. एक society में change के बारे में हम बात करते हैं. So whether it could be through behavior, it could be through culture, an evolution in ideologies, all of these things include a social change in a society. So basically सोशल स्ट्रक्चर्स में जो चेंज आता है दैट इज़ मेनली रिफर्ड विद द सोशल चेंज. व्हेन वी स्पीक अबाउट पॉलिटिकल चेंज we understand the same change or alteration in a society but in terms of political lines politically. So political changes could be through developments or revolutions, etc. So now that we've understood that, it is important to understand drama has always existed. Why is modern European drama given so much emphasis? It was one of those times that brought in a major shift to what was being shown to the audience or the readers through literature, through art. Let's say for example हम एक शेक्सपियर का ड्रामा ले जाते हैं. So there are many things quite common in his dramas and most of the dramas in previous centuries जो लिखे गए थे. For example, we have the forests, or let's say there are villains and heroes and heroines. So there was something different in the modern European drama that set it apart. And the reason why it was different was because of the era in which it was being created in. So in this video, let's understand उस time में क्या सब events were taking place that helped shape this entire genre. Like I've mentioned earlier, it's very important to understand the timeline, which goes somewhere around late 1800s to late 1900s. So World War is a very important event जो start हुआ था in 1940, and because after World War One, in fact 1918 में ये जब ख़त्म हुआ, many trends came in, and these trends we will read towards the later in the video. And these trends were not only in drama but even societal में, like in the culture, in the literary trend, there was a spread of science. And for example, very important, as you know, women, adult suffrage movement, women were allowed to vote. It was right after World War, hence it's very important. Next we have industrial revolution. Now industrial revolution was very contradicting, as on one side societally it did liberate society, it did uplift society to some levels, but towards in some other parts it also did more harm than good. I will not go through much details, it's mentioned on the screen. Please keep reading and making note. तो इस टाइम में क्या हुआ, बस एक डिविजन हो गया majorly between two groups of people, as the working class or the middle class and the peasants. The people who didn't have work, they did menial farm jobs and they grew produce and वो जाके markets में बेचते थे. And जो working class था, they started exploiting these peasants because they had access to little bit of money and power more than these peasants. In communication also there were many changes. The telegraph was invented. Communication was evolving, technologies were evolving. अब न्यूज़ एक जगह से दूसरे जगह जाने को, it was not taking a lot of time, it was much more faster, much more efficient. Logistics improve हो रहा था, the railroad communication was getting better, roads were getting better, and बहुत सारे improvements भी देखने को मिले in the field of cinema, TV, theatre. So hence there was a major social upheaval, which means there was a sudden change or there was a sudden disruption in the society. आप slide से देख सकते हैं what are the changes, please note them down. And as you can figure out from here, there was a major distinction between the working class and between poverty. Poverty was seen as something very bad, almost as if poor होना एक crime है. Poverty and poor people were exploited so much during this time, and this is why modern European drama is so important, because ये जो upheaval था, social upheaval, this was clearly visible in the literature, in the art that these artists were producing, whether it was through their paintings or through writings, poetry, drama, theater. These original real portrayal of real images of the society, uh, whether it was criticizing the government or trying to show the harsh realities of the society, it was all being done through this art. Now let's move on and discuss with the trends that were being associated with art. ऐसा क्या चेंजेस आ रहे थे ड्रामा में, ड्रामा कैसे चेंज कर रहा था एज कम्पेयर टू जो स्टीरियोटिपिकल थिंग्स दे वर फॉलोइंग बिफोर. In comparison to that, what was drama portraying these days during that time, especially in the modern European drama? Another thing that is also worth noticeable is improvements done by Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung. These people were psychologists. उस time में psychology was slowly improving, it was growing. It was relatively a newer concept and a subject जो society में introduce किया जा रहा था. Sigmund Freud ने अपना theory दिया था psychoanalysis. So most writers जो थे, this is the time I'm talking about towards the first or early 1900s. During that time ये धीरे धीरे slowly it started to reduce during the late 1900s. So बहुत सारे playwrights थे who were inspired by these theories. So they used to use these techniques, dream sequence and psychoanalysis theories in their writings. And this is why myth was very prominent along with realism. This also later converted into poetic realism, but slowly it started to diminish and more real concepts started to come up. So like you can see, realism, it did portray the direct human behavior, what real life is, what real society is, what real human behavior is. It focused on these things, and Henrik Ibsen was the biggest torchbearer of this realism concept. We will be discussing about the writers and the authors and उन्होंने क्या क्या लिखा है और वो किस movement से related है in the next part. In this part, we will just simply go through the trends quickly. So realism portrayed the real concepts about castes, races, genders. Next, we had social realism. Social realism was more attached with the realism of the society. Normal realism was more attached with individual features. Social realism had more things to do with the society. And ये economic depression के साथ linked था, which means उस समय में एक आर्थिक मंदी थी. Many things like we discussed, war was going on. Next in the line, we have absurdist drama. So जब war खत्म हुआ, it is now you can understand all these situations were kind of parallel with all the things that are going on these days, especially with the corona virus pandemic. It is almost as if लोगों के मन में और hope नहीं है. People are losing hope. Absurdist drama actually उस time में शुरू हुआ था because people had no direction, because इतने सारे society में changes हो रहे थे, religion को challenge किया जा रहा था, scientific developments हो रहे थे, there was war, there was a lot of upheaval. Hence तो ये जो absurdist drama था was almost as if it was a mockery to the society. और ये इसमें dialogues and वो सब, it was not much important. उन्होंने situations को through images बहुत अच्छे से they have portrayed it, and this drama is linked with symbolism, dadaism and expressionism. We will discuss them further. G.B. Shaw, we will also discuss about this writer later. Let's see the difference between dadaism and symbolism. These are different than each other because जो dadaist थे उन्होंने nationalism के प्रति, colonialism जो उपनिवेशवाद उसके प्रति they were showing disgust. They were it was almost like they were protesting through their art. It was also known as एंटी आर्ट, एंड ये एक वर्ल्ड वॉर को लेकर ये एक रिएक्शन था. जो सोसाइटी में जो वैल्यूज़ थे वो उस चीज़ को वो रिजेक्ट कर रहे थे. दे वर लाइक protesting against all the things that was going on in the society. Next, we have symbolism. Symbolism is also associated with aestheticism. I'm sure you're all aware about the word aesthetic. It is more associated with the beautifulness or showing off a pretty image, more related with fantasizing, dreams. So this symbolism was more linked with a beautiful portrayal of art, whereas Dadaism was the complete opposite. It was showing the disgust through art. So it was anti-art. नेक्स्ट वी हैव सरिलिज्म. सरिलिज्म में अगेन उसमें कैरेक्टर्स क्या पहन रहे हैं, क्या बोल रहे हैं, उनके नाम क्या है, दीज थिंग्स वर वेरी लेस इंपॉर्टेंट. वर्ड्स एंड नरेशन, ऑल ऑफ दिस वॉज वेरी मच डाउन प्लेड. उनका फोकस ज़्यादा था इन द पोर्ट्रेयल, इन द फिजिकल थिएटर. उनका स्टेजिंग वॉज मच मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. वन ऑफ द राइटर्स एसोसिएटेड विथ इज सैमुअल बेकेट. Then we have expressionism, as the name suggests. Characters, they did not speak a lot. बहुत छोटे छोटे sentences में वो बात करते थे. उनका emphasis ज़्यादा था on the issues and about कि present time में क्या चल रहा है और future क्या hold कर सकता है. Spiritual awakening episodes were much more common. So expressionism was more about expressions. It was more about displaying emotions through their faces, their hands, etc. उसमें dialogues etc. were not very important. And we have discussed realistic theatre, which was completely against mythical characters and fantasies etc. It was real image portrayal of realities. But उसके opposite भी एक theatre था, which was epic theatre. और ये क्या करता था, ये realistic theatre को reject करता था. Epics, as you can see here, these are some of the epics. So especially Greek epic poetry के ऊपर ये based था. So it was more of dramatic illusions etc. तो social issues जो है, moral issues भी in fact ये पहले भी they have been shown through these epics. Like there is a king, there is a warrior and what he does and other stuff like that. Okay, so these are some moral things also that have been shown in epics. And epic theatre wanted to reinforce these things. So वो society में reality को ऑडियंस को रियलिटी चैलेंज नहीं करना चाहता था, रादर इट वांटेड टू इंस्टिल दीज रियलिटीज थ्रू दीज एपिक्स. सो इट वाज मोर associated with these epics. These are some of the trends that went on through the modern European drama. Now it was through these features that they tried to penetrate through to the audience, and you can figure out that these are some of the changes that drama went through as compared to the drama that was being done before. And in the next video, in part 2, make sure you watch it. We'll be discussing about the writers and the movements they were associated with, और उन्होंने क्या क्या सब लिखा. This was just a background. So what they were going through in their drama, what they were portraying in the drama, we'll go through all these in the next video. Make sure you watch it, and if you like this video, then do let me know in the comment section. Till then, bye bye.